Ladies and gentlemen, my good friend, Dr. William B. Allen, is, in my opinion, the eminent political philosopher in the Western world today. He doesn't like it when I speak that way, but based upon his writings, his teachings, his lecturing, and his life experience as a political philosopher, he's a person who I treasure every moment I spend with and every word that I get to hear. So it is my delight to bring as a gift to Gabe and to Rebecca and to all of you, my dear friend. And I have one question, and then I'm out. The question is America a republic or a democracy? We hear endlessly on the news that this person or that person, this issue or that issue, is a threat to our democracy. Is this just a debate in semantics, or is there a philosophical, truth-based issue here?
Well, David, you, like me, probably learned as a child to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. And those who are citizens of the United States are probably joining us in remembering that. But perhaps we don't remember that we pledge allegiance to the flag and to the republic for which it stands. The flag, the symbol, the republic, the beneficiary of the pledge. But what is the republic? Well, the very notion is an idea. And it's not an organism, it's not an institution, it's not a particular structure, it's an idea. So that our Pledge of Allegiance puts us in a very awkward space because we are forced to ask ourselves, what do we mean when we say republic, and how does that relate to the question of democracy? Let us begin where the founders began. Democracy is the worst form of government, period. Because anything worse is not a government, it's just a pure despotism. But democracy is chaotic, it's unruly, it's unpredictable, it produces majority tyranny. So how does one escape the burden of democracy and preserve the blessings of liberty, with which, of course, our preamble to the Constitution closes? The blessings of liberty are available to us only when we restrain governmental power, which includes majority power. And we do that by creating what we call representative democracy. So the word republic is really a synonym for the term representative democracy. That the people govern, yes. The people are sovereign, yes. But they do so through delegation of authority to agents to represent them, so as to make the process far more reliable, far safer than it would otherwise be. But there's more to this than that. And this may come as a surprise to you and to many. But this idea of the republic is not just the idea of representation. It's the idea that somehow it is the authority of the people which is at bottom, the foundation of the government. Not their direct rule, but their authority. And what does that authority consist in? It consists in a responsibility, the responsibility of self-government. So we have a dilemma, a paradox. Self-government doesn't mean majority rule. It means each and every one of us being subject to moral self-government, to self-restraint, to moderation. It means being accountable individually. And the purpose for the idea of the republic is to capture that personal accountability. And where does it come from? Ultimately, we derive it from what was identified at the founding as the freedom of conscience. And when James Madison defined that for us in 1785, he defined it very clearly as the obligation human beings owe to God, which is prior to any obligation to civil society. And so when we're talking about the republic, we're talking about the idea that we have obligations to God first. And our civil relationships are all subordinated to that. And therefore we have to work those out as well as we can, because the reality is we live under two governments, not one. We live under, call it a representative democracy or republic if you will. That's the one. But it's not the most important. The most important government we live under is the divine monarchy of God. And if we forget that, we will lose our way. We will become fixated on those governmental institutions with which we live and the political parties that seek to run them, and we'll forget we owe a superior obligation to God, prior to any obligation we have to civil society.